Dr. Yoon Minho wiped the sweat from his forehead as he stared at the smoking remains of his fusion reactor. The small laboratory on Europa Station felt cramped and hot after another failed experiment. He had been trying to solve Earth's energy crisis for 3 years now, and every attempt ended the same way. Minho, we need to talk. Park Ji-won walked into the lab, her face serious. She was his research partner and the smartest person he knew. If Ji-won looked worried, something was very wrong. The reactor failed again, Minho said, pointing at the broken machine. I don't understand what we're doing wrong. Ji-won shook her head. That's not why I'm here. Look at this. She handed him a data pad showing energy readings from their latest test. The numbers didn't make sense. These readings show we created antimatter, Minho said slowly. But that's impossible. We don't have the technology to make antimatter safely. I thought the same thing, Ji-won replied. But I ran the test 5 more times. Every time we try to create fusion, we accidentally make small amounts of antimatter instead, and somehow it stays stable. Minho sat down hard in his chair. Antimatter was the most powerful energy source in the universe. Just 1 gram could power a city for weeks, but it was also incredibly dangerous. If antimatter touched normal matter, it would explode with the force of a nuclear bomb. How is it staying stable? He asked. I think it's because of Europa's magnetic field, Ji-won explained. The field interacts with Jupiter's magnetosphere in a weird way. It creates a natural containment field that keeps the antimatter from touching anything. Before Minho could respond, Kim Dae-ho burst into the lab. As the station administrator, Dae-ho usually stayed in his office handling paperwork. Seeing him run anywhere was strange. We have a problem, Dae-ho said, breathing hard. I've been monitoring our communications and someone has been listening to our experiments. What do you mean? Minho asked. Every time you run a test, we send out electromagnetic signals. I thought they were just normal radiation from the equipment. But I was wrong. The signals are too organized, too perfect. Someone is watching us, Ji-won grabbed Minho's arm. If aliens know about our antimatter research, we could be in serious trouble. Why? Minho asked. Think about it, she said. Antimatter is the perfect fuel for spaceships.
It's also the perfect weapon.
If aliens have been trying to make antimatter for thousands of years and we figured it out by accident, they might want to take it from us. Dae-ho nodded. That's why I called Lee Sora. She's coming here tomorrow. Lee Sora was the head of Earth's space program. She was tough, smart, and didn't trust anyone. If she was coming to Europa Station, the situation was very serious. The next day, Sora arrived with 2 security guards and a briefcase full of classified documents. She listened to their explanation without saying a word. When they finished, she was quiet for a long time. Show me the antimatter, she said finally. Ji-won led them to a small chamber behind the main lab. Inside was a container the size of a coffee cup, glowing with a soft blue light. Tiny particles of antimatter floated inside, held in place by magnetic fields. How much is in there? Sora asked. About 10 milligrams, Ji-won replied. Sora's eyes widened. 10 milligrams of antimatter has the same energy as 200 kilograms of TNT explosive. But it's completely safe, Minho said quickly. The containment field is stable. We've had antimatter stored for 2 weeks now with no problems. Sora walked around the container, studying it from every angle. Can you make more? Yes, Ji-won said. Every time we run the fusion experiment, we create more antimatter instead. We can probably make as much as we want. Can you make it portable? Minho and Ji-won looked at each other. What do you mean? Minho asked. Can you put this antimatter into a spaceship engine? Can you use it to power a spacecraft? Theoretically, yes, Ji-won said slowly. Antimatter would be the perfect rocket fuel. A small amount could power a ship to other star systems in weeks instead of years. Sora smiled for the first time since arriving. Then we have work to do. Over the next month, the team worked in complete secrecy. They built larger containment systems and developed ways to control the antimatter flow. Minho designed an engine that could use antimatter safely, while Ji-won created better magnetic fields to hold the dangerous particles. Dae-ho continued monitoring communications and discovered something frightening. The alien signals were getting stronger. Whatever was watching them was moving closer to Earth. We need to move faster, Sora told them during one of their evening meetings. I've been talking to the government on Earth. They want to build antimatter spaceships as quickly as possible. Why the rush? Minho asked. Because we might not be alone in wanting this technology, Sora replied. If aliens have been trying to create antimatter for a long time, They probably won't be happy that humans figured it out first. Jiwan looked up from her calculations. How long do we have? Maybe 6 months before someone comes looking for us, Sora said. We need to have antimatter ships ready by then. That's impossible, Minho protested. It takes years to build a spaceship even with normal engines. Not if we modify existing ships, Sora said. We have several research vessels that could be converted. The biggest challenge is building enough antimatter engines and containment systems. The team worked 18 hours a day for the next several months. They barely slept and lived on energy drinks and instant food. But slowly their first antimatter engine took shape. The engine was beautiful in its simplicity. Antimatter and normal matter mixed in a carefully controlled chamber, releasing enormous amounts of energy. The energy pushed exhaust out the back of the engine, driving the ship forward at incredible speeds. It's ready for testing, Jiwan announced one morning. They installed the engine in a small probe and launched it toward Saturn. The results were amazing. The probe reached Saturn in just 3 days, a journey that usually took months. We did it, Minho said, watching the probe's data stream back to Europa Station. We actually did it, but their celebration was short-lived. Daho's monitoring equipment started screaming with alerts. They're coming, he said, his face pale. A large spacecraft just appeared at the edge of our solar system. It's heading straight for Earth. Sora grabbed her communication device. I need to contact Earth immediately. We're about to have visitors and I don't think they're coming to say hello. As the team watched the alien ship approach on their screens, they realized their discovery had changed everything. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and their new antimatter technology had attracted attention from across the galaxy. The real adventure was just beginning. 6 months later, Commander Nam Hyuk stood on the bridge of the Soul's Pride, humanity's first antimatter-powered starship. The ship was beautiful and deadly, built from the best technology Earth could provide. Its antimatter engines could push it faster than anything humans had ever imagined. All systems ready, Commander, reported Dr. Cho Moran from the engineering station. She was the ship's chief engineer and understood the antimatter systems better than anyone except Jiwan herself. Communications are working perfectly, added Kang Jinwoo from his station. As the ship's communications officer, he would be responsible for talking to anyone they met in space. Hyuk nodded and settled into the captain's chair. This was supposed to be a simple test flight to Alpha Centauri, the nearest star system to Earth. The journey would normally take years, but with antimatter engines, they could make it in just 2 weeks. Begin launch sequence, Hyuk ordered. The Soul's Pride lifted away from Earth smoothly. As soon as they cleared the planet's atmosphere, Moran activated the antimatter engines. The ship suddenly jumped forward with incredible speed. Acceleration is smooth, Moran reported. Engine temperature is normal. Antimatter containment is stable. Hyuk watched Earth shrink behind them on the main screen. In just 1 hour, they had traveled farther than any human in history. The feeling was incredible. Commander, Jinwoo said suddenly, I'm picking up some kind of signal. What kind of signal? It's not from Earth. The signal is coming from somewhere ahead of us near Alpha Centauri. Hyuk frowned. Could it be natural? Maybe radiation from the star? No, sir. This is definitely artificial. Someone is trying to communicate with us. Before Hyuk could respond, a new voice filled the bridge. It spoke perfect English, but with a strange musical quality. Greetings, travelers from Earth. We are the Zephyrian Council. Please do not be afraid. We wish to speak with you peacefully. The entire bridge crew stared at each other in shock. They were talking to aliens. This is Commander Nam Hyuk of the Earthship Soul's Pride, Hyuk said carefully. We are on a peaceful mission to explore space. We know who you are, the voice replied. We have been watching your planet for some time. Your recent technological advancement has been most impressive. What technological advancement? Hyuk asked, though he already knew the answer. Your antimatter propulsion system. We must admit we are quite surprised. Most species take thousands of years to develop such technology. Your people accomplished it in less than 1 year. Moran looked worried. Commander, should we be telling them about our engines? They already know, Hyuk replied quietly. Then, speaking louder, he said, Would it be possible to meet face to face? Of course. We have a ship nearby. May we approach? Yes, but slowly. This is our first contact with another intelligent species. We understand completely. On the main screen, a ship appeared from behind a small asteroid. It was unlike anything humans had ever seen. The vessel was long and graceful, covered in what looked like crystal panels that glowed with soft light. It moved with impossible smoothness, as if floating through water instead of space. "Their ship is beautiful," Moran whispered. The Zephyrian ship approached carefully and stopped a safe distance away. A smaller craft detached from the main vessel and flew toward the Soul's Pride. "They want to come aboard," Jinwoo reported. "Are they carrying weapons?" Hyuk asked. "I don't detect any weapons, but their technology is so advanced I might not recognize them." Hyuk made a decision that would change human history. "Tell them they can dock with our ship." The alien shuttle attached to the Soul's Pride with a soft thud. Hyuk, Moran, and Jinwoo walked to the airlock, not knowing what to expect. The airlock opened and Ambassador Veltar stepped through. The alien was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large silver eyes. Instead of hair, crystalline structures grew from their head, glowing softly in the ship's lights. "Greetings," Veltar said, bowing slightly. "I am honored to meet the first humans to travel between stars." "The honor is ours," Hyuk replied, also bowing. "We never imagined we would meet other intelligent life so soon." Veltar smiled, an expression that looked surprisingly human. "Your species has accomplished something remarkable. Most civilizations require centuries to develop antimatter technology safely. You did it in months." "We had some lucky accidents," Miran said. "Perhaps," Veltar replied. "But luck alone does not explain your success. Your people think differently than most species. You approach problems from directions others never consider." They moved to the ship's conference room, where Veltar shared information about the galaxy that shocked the humans. Space was full of intelligent life, with dozens of major civilizations and hundreds of smaller ones. Most were peaceful, but some were not. "The galaxy is currently dominated by 3 major powers," Veltar explained. "The Vorthak Empire is the largest and most aggressive. They believe in conquering other species and taking their technology. The crystalline hegemony is smaller but more advanced. They prefer to stay isolated and rarely interact with others. The Organic Collective is a group of biological species that work together for mutual protection." "Where do humans fit in?" Hyuk asked. Veltar's expression became serious. "That is the problem. Your antimatter technology makes you incredibly powerful, but you are still a young species. The major powers will see you as either a threat or an opportunity." "What do you mean?" "The Vorthak Empire has been trying to develop antimatter propulsion for over 1,000 years without success. When they learn that humans have accomplished this, they will demand that you share the technology. If you refuse, they will try to take it by force." Jinwoo looked pale. "How many ships do they have?" "Thousands. Their empire spans dozens of star systems, but their ships are slow compared to yours. Antimatter propulsion gives you a huge advantage." Miran leaned forward. "Are you saying we might have to fight them?" "It is possible," Veltar admitted. "The Vorthak do not negotiate with species they consider inferior. To them, you are primitives who stumbled upon advanced technology by accident." "But we're not primitives," Hyuk said firmly. "No, you are not. That is why I am here. The Zephyrian Council serves as neutral diplomats throughout the galaxy. We want to help you navigate the dangerous politics of interstellar civilization." Veltar spent several hours teaching them about galactic politics, technology, and culture. The humans learned that most space travel was slow and expensive. Faster-than-light communication was limited. Trade between star systems took years to complete. "Your antimatter ships could change everything," Veltar explained. "Fast transportation would revolutionize galactic commerce and politics. Every major power wants this technology. What should we do?" Hyuk asked. "Return to Earth immediately. Warn your leaders about what is coming. Begin building more antimatter ships as quickly as possible. The Vorthak Empire will come looking for you soon." "How soon?" "Months, perhaps less. Word travels fast in the galaxy, even with slow communication. They already know about your test flights." As Veltar prepared to leave, they gave the humans a communication device. "Use this to contact the Zephyrian Council if you need help. We cannot fight the Vorthak for you, but we can provide information and diplomatic support." After the alien shuttle departed, the Soul's Pride began its journey back to Earth. The mood on the bridge was tense. "Everything has changed," Moran said quietly. "Yes," Hyuk agreed. "Humanity is no longer alone in the universe, but we're also not safe anymore." Jinwoo was studying the data they had collected about the Zephyrian ship. Commander, their technology is incredible. Their ship doesn't even use engines in the traditional sense. They manipulate space itself to move. But they don't have antimatter propulsion, Hyok pointed out. No. Which means our accidental discovery really is something special. The Soul's Pride reached Earth in record time. As soon as they entered communication range, Hyok began transmitting his report to Earth's government and military leaders. The message was simple, but terrifying. Humanity had joined a galaxy full of advanced civilizations, and some of them were coming to Earth. The peaceful age of human isolation was over. War might be coming to the solar system. Fleet Admiral Song Mirai stood in the command center on Earth, surrounded by screens showing spacecraft construction around the planet. It had been 3 months since the Soul's Pride returned from Alpha Centauri, and humanity was building ships faster than ever before in history. Report, she ordered Captain Oh Sung-ho, who had just entered the room. The Busan's Thunder is ready for final testing, Sung-ho said. Dr. Lim Chae-young has finished installing the new antimatter weapon systems. Mirai nodded. The Busan's Thunder was humanity's second antimatter-powered warship, designed specifically for combat. Unlike the Soul's Pride, which was built for exploration, this ship was meant to fight. What about the other ships? We have 6 more antimatter vessels under construction. They should be ready within 2 months. That might not be fast enough, Mirai said grimly. She pointed to one of the screens showing deep space sensor readings. The Vorthak Empire has been moving ships toward our region of space. Our Zephyrian contacts estimate they have over 300 vessels in their fleet. Sung-ho's face went pale. 300 ships against 8? The numbers are bad, Mirai admitted. But our ships are much faster and more powerful than theirs. One antimatter torpedo can destroy their largest battleship. General Huang Taiwan walked over to join their conversation. As the head of Earth's planetary defense force, he was responsible for protecting the planet itself. Admiral, we've received another message from the Vorthak Empire, Taewon said, handing her a datapad. Mirai read the message and frowned. They're demanding that we surrender all antimatter technology immediately. They're calling us primitive thieves who stole technology that doesn't belong to us. What's our response? Sung-ho asked. The same as last time. We tell them that humanity developed antimatter technology independently, and we will not surrender it to anyone. They won't accept that answer. I know. That's why we're building warships. Dr. Lim Chae-young entered the command center carrying a portable computer. She was young but brilliant, having designed most of humanity's antimatter weapons in just a few months. Admiral, I have good news, Chae-young said. The antimatter torpedo tests were successful. Each torpedo has the explosive power of 10 nuclear weapons, but they're much more precise. How many torpedoes can each ship carry? 24. The Busan's Thunder could destroy an entire enemy fleet by itself, assuming they don't have antimatter shields. Do they have antimatter shields? Mirai asked. According to the Zephyrians, no. Most galactic civilizations consider antimatter too dangerous to use in defensive systems. Taewon looked thoughtful. So we have superior firepower, superior speed, and superior defense. Why am I still worried? Because we're vastly outnumbered, Mirai replied. Even with our advantages, 300 ships against 8 is not good odds. What about allies? Sung-ho asked. Didn't the Zephyrians mention other species that might help us? Mirai activated a holographic display showing the local region of the galaxy. Several star systems were marked in different colors. The situation is complicated, she explained. The Organic Collective has offered to help us, but their ships are slow and not very well armed. The crystalline hegemony refuses to get involved. They think this conflict is beneath their attention. What about smaller species? Several minor civilizations have contacted us secretly. They're tired of being bullied by the Vorthak Empire, but they're afraid to fight openly. Chae-young looked up from her computer. Admiral, I've been thinking about our tactical situation. What if we don't try to fight a traditional space battle? What do you mean? The Vorthak expect us to meet their fleet in open space and trade shots like a normal war. But our ships are incredibly fast. We could hit them before they even know we're there, then disappear before they can respond. Mirai considered this idea. Hit-and-run tactics? Exactly. Use our speed to attack their supply lines, their communication ships, their weakest vessels. Make them chase us instead of heading straight for Earth. That could work, Sung-ho said, but it would require perfect coordination between our ships. Which is why we need to train together, Mirai decided. I want all antimatter vessels to conduct joint training exercises immediately. Over the next month, humanity's small fleet practiced advanced combat maneuvers. The ships were incredibly agile, able to change direction almost instantly thanks to their antimatter engines. They could accelerate to enormous speeds, attack a target, and escape before enemy ships could respond. Meanwhile, the Zephyrians continued providing intelligence about Vorthak fleet movements. The news was not encouraging. They're assembling the largest fleet in Vorthak history, Ambassador Veltar reported during a secret communication. Over 400 ships now, including their newest battleships. 400? Mirai repeated. Are they planning to conquer the entire galaxy? No, just your solar system. The Vorthak Emperor has declared that antimatter technology belongs to his empire by right of conquest. He intends to take it from you and then use it to dominate other species. What about the other major powers? Won't they object? The crystalline hegemony doesn't care what happens to younger species. The organic collective is too far away to help quickly. You are essentially alone. Mirai felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. Humanity's entire future depended on the next few weeks. Veltar, I need to ask you something directly. If we lose this war, what happens to the human race? The Zephyrian was quiet for a long moment. The Vorthak do not believe in slavery. They will either force you to become part of their empire, or they will destroy your civilization completely. I see. And if we win? Then you become a major galactic power overnight. Every species in the galaxy will want to trade with you, form alliances with you, or learn from you. After the communication ended, Mirai called a meeting of all ship commanders and senior officers. 8 captains gathered in the command center, representing humanity's entire antimatter fleet. The situation is simple, Mirai told them. In 2 weeks, the largest invasion fleet in galactic history will arrive at Earth. We have 8 ships to stop them. Captain Sungho raised his hand. Admiral, those odds are impossible. Are they? Let's think about this differently. We have 8 antimatter ships. Each ship carries 24 antimatter torpedoes. That's 192 weapons that can destroy any ship in their fleet with a single hit. But they have over 400 ships. Another captain protested. They have 400 slow, predictable ships with limited firepower. Mirai corrected. We have 8 ships that can move faster than they can track and hit harder than anything they've ever seen. Dr. Che-Young stood up. Admiral, I've been running combat simulations. If we use hit-and-run tactics perfectly, we could theoretically destroy their entire fleet without losing a single ship. Theoretically? It requires flawless execution. One mistake and we could lose everything. Mirai looked around the room at the faces of humanity's finest officers. These people would determine whether the human race survived or died. I won't lie to you, she said. This will be the most dangerous mission in human history. We're going to face an enemy that has conquered dozens of star systems. They have more experience, more ships, and more firepower than we do. Then why are we fighting? Asked one of the younger captains. Because we have something they don't, Mirai replied. We have antimatter technology that they've been trying to develop for 1,000 years. We have ships that can run circles around their best battleships. And most importantly, we're fighting for our home. She activated the holographic display showing Earth floating peacefully in space. That planet contains every human being who has ever lived. Every person we've ever loved. Every dream our species has ever had. The Vorthak want to take it away from us. The room was completely silent. So yes, the odds are bad. Yes, we might die, but we're going to fight anyway because that's what humans do. We don't give up, we don't surrender, and we don't let bullies push us around. Captain Sungho stood up first. I'm with you, Admiral. One by one, the other captains stood as well. Within moments, every officer in the room was on their feet. Good, Mirai said. Now let's go save humanity. Captain Oh Sungho gripped the arms of his command chair as the Busan's thunder raced through space at impossible speeds. Around him, his crew worked frantically at their stations, preparing for the most important battle in human history. Enemy fleet detected, reported Lieutenant Yu Nari from the sensor station. 437 ships approaching from the outer solar system. That's more than we expected, muttered Engineer Bei Donghyun from the engine station. Admiral Mirai's plan calls for 400 ships, not 437. Sungho activated his communication system. All ships, this is Busan's Thunder. Report status. 7 voices responded, representing humanity's entire antimatter fleet. Each ship was positioned at a different point around the solar system, ready to strike the Vorthak fleet from multiple directions. Soul's Pride ready, came the voice of Commander Hyuk. Incheon's Fury ready, reported another captain. One by one, all 8 ships confirmed they were prepared for battle. Admiral Park Sung-jin's voice crackled over the communication system from his flagship, the Terra's shield. All ships begin Phase 1. Target their supply vessels and communication ships. Seung-ho smiled grimly. The Vorthak fleet was massive, but it was also slow and poorly organized. They expected humanity to meet them in traditional battle formation. Instead, the human ships would strike like lightning, hitting their weakest targets first. Nari, target the supply ships at the rear of their formation, Seung-ho ordered. Targeting solutions ready, Captain. We have clear shots on 12 supply vessels. Donghyun, how are the engines? Antimatter containment is perfect, Captain. We can maintain maximum speed for hours if needed. Good. Execute attack run. The Busan's thunder accelerated to incredible speed, crossing millions of kilometers in minutes. The Vorthak supply ships never saw them coming. Seung-ho's ship fired 6 antimatter torpedoes, each one destroying a different target. In less than 30 seconds, half of the enemy's supply fleet was gone. Direct hits on all targets, Nari reported. Enemy ships destroyed. Now disappear before they can respond, Seung-ho ordered. The Busan's thunder changed direction instantly and sped away from the enemy fleet. Behind them, Vorthak warships scrambled to pursue, but the human ship was already too far away to catch. Across the solar system, the same scene was repeated 7 times. Human ships appeared from nowhere, destroyed multiple targets, and vanished before the enemy could react. In the first hour of battle, humanity destroyed over 50 Vorthak vessels without losing a single ship. Phase 1 complete, Admiral Sung-jin announced. All ships report to Phase 2 positions. Phase 2 was more dangerous. Instead of attacking supply ships, the human fleet would target the Vorthak warships themselves. These ships had better armor and weapons, but they were still no match for antimatter torpedoes. New targets acquired, Nari reported. Enemy battleship formation, bearing 270. Seung-ho studied the tactical display. The Vorthak had learned from the first attacks and were now keeping their ships closer together for protection. This made them harder to attack, but it also made them easier to find. All ships coordinate fire on the battleship formation, Admiral Sung-jin ordered. Attack in 30 seconds. 8 antimatter-powered ships approached the Vorthak battleships from different directions simultaneously. The enemy finally managed to detect them, but it was too late. Enemy ships opening fire, Nari warned. Evasive maneuvers, Seung-ho ordered. The Busan's thunder twisted through space like a dancing bird, avoiding the enemy weapons with impossible grace. Vorthak laser beams and plasma cannons filled the space around them, but none could track the incredibly fast human ship. Firing antimatter torpedoes, Nari announced. 6 bright streaks of light shot from the Busan's thunder toward the enemy formation. Each torpedo contained enough antimatter to destroy a city-sized target. When they hit the Vorthak battleships, the explosions were visible across the solar system. Direct hits on all targets, Nari reported with satisfaction. 6 enemy battleships destroyed. All human ships report successful attacks, came Admiral Sung-jin's voice. 48 enemy battleships destroyed. No human casualties. Seung-ho allowed himself a moment of pride. In less than 2 hours, humanity had destroyed almost 100 enemy ships. But the battle was far from over. Captain, Donghyun called from the engine station. I'm detecting problems with their fleet formation. They're starting to panic. What do you mean? Their ships are breaking formation and trying to escape. They never expected to face this kind of firepower. Lieutenant Nari looked up from her sensors. Captain, something strange is happening. The enemy fleet is splitting into 3 groups. Show me. The tactical display updated to show the Vorthak fleet dividing into smaller formations. One group was heading toward Earth, another toward Mars, and the third toward Jupiter. They're trying to force us to split our forces, Seung-ho realized. If we chase one group, the others can attack our planets. Admiral Sung-jin's voice came over the communication system. All ships maintain formation. Do not split up to chase enemy groups. But Admiral, came another captain's voice, they're heading for Earth. We have to protect the planet. The planet has its own defenses. Our job is to destroy this fleet completely, not just drive it away. Sung-ho understood the Admiral's logic. If they let any Vorthak ships escape, those ships would return with reinforcements. The only way to protect humanity was to destroy the entire invasion fleet. All ships target the group heading for Earth, Admiral Sungjin ordered. We'll deal with them first. The 8 human ships raced toward the largest enemy formation. 150 Vorthak ships were approaching Earth at maximum speed, hoping to reach the planet before the antimatter fleet could stop them. Intercept course plotted, Nari reported. Maximum speed, Sung-ho ordered. The Busan's thunder shot forward like a bullet, covering vast distances in minutes. The human fleet reached the enemy formation just as it entered Earth's outer atmosphere. Captain, Donghyun warned, if we fight this close to Earth, debris from destroyed ships could fall on the planet. Then we'll have to be very precise with our shots, Sung-ho replied. The battle above Earth was unlike anything in human history. 8 small ships danced between 150 massive enemy vessels, firing antimatter torpedoes with deadly accuracy. Every shot destroyed an enemy ship, but the Vorthak kept firing back with everything they had. Hull damage on Deck 3, Donghyun reported. A plasma cannon got through our shields. Can you fix it? Already working on it, Captain. Lieutenant Nari suddenly sat up straight at her station. Captain, the enemy is doing something new. They're firing some kind of net weapon. What's a net weapon? It's an energy field designed to trap fast-moving ships. If we get caught in it, we won't be able to use our speed advantage. Sung-ho made a quick decision. All power to engines. Get us out of here. The Busan's thunder accelerated so fast that the crew was pressed back into their seats. Behind them, the energy net closed on empty space. That was close, Nari said. Too close. Admiral, the enemy has net weapons. Our speed advantage isn't as good as we thought. Understood, Admiral Sungjin replied. All ships use maximum evasion patterns. Don't let them predict your movements. The battle continued for 3 more hours. Slowly, methodically, the human fleet destroyed every ship in the formation attacking Earth. But it wasn't easy. The Vorthak fought desperately, using every weapon and trick they knew. Last enemy ship destroyed, Nari reported. Earth is safe. Status of other enemy formations? Sung-ho asked. Admiral Sungjin answered over the communication system. The groups heading for Mars and Jupiter have turned around. They're trying to escape from the solar system. Should we pursue them? Absolutely. We can't let any of them get away. The final phase of the battle took place in the outer solar system. The remaining Vorthak ships tried to reach the edge of human space, where they could jump to faster-than-light travel and escape. But antimatter engines were faster than anything they had. Captain Sung-ho's ship caught the last enemy vessel, just as it reached the boundary of the solar system. The Vorthak ship was damaged and trying to send a distress signal to their empire. Destroy their communication array first, Sung-ho ordered. We can't let them report what happened here. One antimatter torpedo eliminated the enemy ship's ability to communicate. A second torpedo destroyed the ship completely. All enemy vessels destroyed, Admiral Sungjin announced. The Battle of Terra is over. Sung-ho leaned back in his command chair, exhausted. His crew looked tired but proud. They had just participated in the most one-sided military victory in galactic history. Casualties? He asked. 2 injured, no deaths, Donghyun reported. Hull damage on 4 ships, but all are still operational. Enemy casualties? Lieutenant Nari checked her sensors one final time. 437 ships destroyed. No survivors detected. The numbers were almost impossible to believe. Humanity had completely destroyed a massive invasion fleet while suffering almost no losses themselves. The battle would be remembered throughout the galaxy for centuries. Captain, Nari said quietly, we're receiving communications from alien ships throughout the region. Everyone wants to know what happened here. What should we tell them? Sung-ho smiled. Tell them that humanity is no longer hiding. 5 years after the Battle of Terra, Ambassador Shin Yeojin walked through the corridors of the new Galactic Council station orbiting Jupiter. The massive space station was a symbol of how much the galaxy had changed since humanity's victory over the Vorthak Empire. Ambassador, the crystalline hegemony representatives are ready to meet with you, said her assistant, Captain Ryu Jamin. He had been one of the antimatter ship explorers who helped establish humanity's presence throughout the galaxy. Good, Yeojin replied. Are they still insisting that antimatter technology should be regulated? Yes, but their position is weakening. Too many species want access to faster travel and communication. Yojin nodded as they entered the main conference room. Representatives from dozens of alien species sat around a circular table. The crystalline hegemony delegates looked like living diamonds, their bodies reflecting light in beautiful patterns. Next to them sat the organic representatives of various biological species, including their old friends the Zephyrians. The discussion continues about establishing antimatter safety protocols, announced Ambassador Veltar, who now served as the Council's neutral moderator. The crystalline hegemony believes that antimatter technology is too dangerous for widespread use, said one of the diamond-like beings. Look what happened to the Vorthak Empire. Yojin stood to address the Council. The Vorthak Empire fell because they tried to steal technology instead of developing it peacefully. Humanity has shared antimatter knowledge with over 30 species in the past 5 years, and there have been no accidents. That we know of, the crystalline delegate replied coldly. The safety record speaks for itself, Yojin continued. Antimatter-powered ships have reduced travel times between star systems from years to weeks. Trade has increased by 3,000%. Scientific cooperation between species has reached levels never seen before in galactic history. She activated a holographic display showing shipping routes throughout the galaxy. The display was filled with moving lines representing antimatter-powered ships carrying goods, people, and information between star systems. 5 years ago, it took 6 months to send a message from one end of the galaxy to the other, Yojin explained. Now it takes 6 days. A representative from the Organic Collective stood up. Ambassador Yojin, what is humanity's position on the recent discovery near the galactic core? Yojin's expression became serious. That's actually why I requested this emergency council session. 3 weeks earlier, Captain Ryu Jamin had been leading an exploration mission to the center of the galaxy when his ship detected artificial structures hidden inside what appeared to be a natural asteroid field. The structures were incredibly old and built with technology far more advanced than anything the current galactic civilizations possessed. Dr. Jian Minsu has finished his initial analysis of the ruins, Yojin announced. What we found changes everything we thought we knew about galactic history. Dr. Jian Minsu was humanity's leading expert on alien archaeology. He had spent months studying the ancient structures trying to understand their purpose and origin. The ruins are over 50,000 years old, Yojin continued. They were built by a civilization that disappeared long before any current species achieved space travel. What does this have to do with antimatter technology? Asked a Zephyrian delegate. Everything. Dr. Jian discovered that these ancient beings, who we're calling the predecessors, deliberately guided the development of younger species. They left hidden technology caches throughout the galaxy, designed to be discovered when species were ready for them. The council chamber became very quiet. Are you saying that humanity's discovery of antimatter was planned? Veltar asked. Not planned exactly, but guided. The predecessors left subtle clues and influences that encouraged certain types of scientific research. Humanity's breakthrough with antimatter came partly from our own intelligence, but also from predecessor influence that we never realized was there. The crystalline hegemony delegate stood up angrily. This is impossible. Our species has existed for millions of years. We would have detected such influences. Would you? Yojin asked. The predecessors were incredibly advanced. They could influence the development of science and technology in ways that seemed completely natural. She activated another holographic display, this one showing the locations of predecessor ruins throughout the galaxy. We've now found 47 different predecessor sites. Each one contains technology caches designed for specific types of civilizations. The antimatter technology was meant for species like humanity, young, aggressive, but fundamentally peaceful. What about the other caches? Asked an Organic Collective representative. That's the interesting part. Each cache contains different types of technology, apparently chosen to match the species that would discover it. The crystalline hegemony sites contain advanced computational technology. The Organic Collective sites contain biological enhancement systems. You're saying the predecessors customized their gifts for each species? Veltar asked. Exactly. They studied younger civilizations for thousands of years, then left appropriate technology for each one to find when they were ready. Dr. Jian Minsu entered the council chamber carrying a small device that glowed with soft blue light. Ambassadors, I've made another discovery. What is it, Doctor? Yojin asked. This device was found in the central chamber of the largest predecessor ruin. It appears to be some kind of test. What kind of test? A test to determine whether younger species are ready for the next level of predecessor technology. The council chamber erupted in excited conversations. Representatives from every species began talking at once. What is the next level? Veltar asked, raising his voice above the noise. John Minsu smiled. According to the device, species that successfully integrate antimatter technology and use it to bring peace to their region of the galaxy are ready to inherit the predecessor's complete technological library. Complete library? The crystalline delegate asked. Everything. Faster than light communication, matter replication, dimensional engineering, even technology for traveling between galaxies. Yojin looked around the council chamber at the faces of representatives from dozens of species. But there's a condition. What condition? Several delegates asked simultaneously. The technology can only be activated if all major galactic civilizations agree to work together peacefully. The predecessors designed it so that no single species could dominate the others. President Han Suyong's voice came over the communication system from Earth. Ambassador Yojin, what is humanity's recommendation? Yojin had been expecting this question. As the species that had brought antimatter technology to the galaxy, humanity's opinion carried enormous weight. Madam President, I recommend that we activate the predecessor technology library, even though it means sharing everything with other species, especially because it means sharing everything. The predecessors understood something that took us years to learn. True advancement comes from cooperation, not domination. She turned to address the entire council. 5 years ago, humanity made a choice. When we developed antimatter technology, we could have kept it secret and used it to conquer the galaxy. Instead, we chose to share it and make the galaxy a better place for everyone. And look what happened, added Captain Ryu Jamin. Trade increased, communication improved, scientific discovery accelerated. The galaxy became more peaceful and prosperous. The predecessors knew this would happen, Yojin continued. They designed their tests specifically to identify species that would choose cooperation over conquest. The crystalline hegemony delegate looked thoughtful. If we agree to this, what guarantees do we have that other species won't abuse the new technology? The same guarantee we had with antimatter technology, Yojin replied. None, but sometimes trust is more powerful than guarantees. Ambassador Veltar called for a formal vote. All species in favor of activating the predecessor technology library, please indicate your position. One by one, representatives from every major galactic civilization voted in favor of the proposal. Even the crystalline hegemony, after much internal debate, agreed to participate. The vote is unanimous, Veltar announced. The predecessor technology library will be activated. Dr. John Minsu placed the glowing device on the council table and pressed a series of symbols on its surface. The device began to pulse with brighter light, and suddenly the air above the table filled with holographic displays, showing technological blueprints beyond anything the current civilizations could imagine. Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of all types, Yojin said as she watched the incredible display, welcome to the next age of galactic civilization. Captain Ryu Jamin leaned over to whisper to her. Ambassador, what do you think the predecessors would say if they could see this? Yojin smiled as she watched representatives from dozens of species working together to understand the new technology. I think they'd say their plan worked perfectly. In the months that followed, the galaxy experienced the greatest technological revolution in its history. Faster-than-light communication networks connected every inhabited world instantly. Matter replication technology ended scarcity and hunger on countless planets. Dimensional engineering allowed the construction of space habitats larger than entire star systems.